Hello and welcome to IBC 2024. We're here at the Adobe booth. My name is Francis Crossman. I'm the Principal Product Manager of Premiere Pro, and we've got some exciting news. We have powerful new color management, a context-aware properties panel, better export performance, and a fresh new modern design. Let's take a look. So I'm going to jump into Premiere, and I want to start out talking about color management. You know, for a long history, Premiere has worked in a Rec. 709 world, and that's largely been because of the camera technology. But as cameras are getting more and more high fidelity, and every camera shoots their own version of log, the everyday video editor is now becoming, the need to become a sort of a hardcore color scientist. And in Premiere Pro, we've totally revamped our color management engine to make this a lot easier, more flexible, and allow you to get better results. So let me show you some of the things that you can expect to see inside of Premiere Pro. So first off, we have our Lumetri color panel, which everyone should know and love. But there is this settings tab here, which is not new, but there are some new settings in here. So what you'll see is a simple preset list where we have the very first item on the list is the direct Rec. 709. This is our standard dynamic range preset. And this is going to put Premiere into a mode that is similar to what you've worked on in the past. But we also can easily get HDR, and we now for the first time have a wide gamut working color space. And let me just show you an example of why the wide gamut working color space is really beneficial. So here I've got this clip. It's quite bright, and you can see the bright sunlight coming in, through the arm. It's hitting this woman's arm. And I may want to do a color adjustment to sort of reduce the exposure because it's a bit overexposed. So I can bring this down, and you notice how you start to lose a bit of color detail, a bit of saturation in the colors. And if you look at the scopes here, it starts to get a bit flattened off. Now, if I change over to the wide gamut working color space, immediately what we're going to see is a whole lot more detail. We start to see the detail out here, better color rendition on her arm. And this is because we are now processing everything inside of a very large color container. And we are also making use of all of the detail that is in the log video file. So also as part of this color management, we are now automatically recognizing all of the camera color spaces. So from most of the cameras out there like Canon, Sony, Arri, Red, all the major ones, what we can do here is we can see that for this particular clip, we can see that it's Arri, and we're automatically managing the color and doing a transformation into Rec. 709. And this is not using a LUT, and there's a lot of benefits to not using a LUT. Doing our color management is a lot more accurate, it's more performant, and it means that you're not running the risk of clipping, because LUTs are designed for sort of ideal exposure. If you overexpose your camera and you use a LUT, you run the risk of clipping data. So let me choose another clip here. Here is a Canon clip, and we can see here that it's automatically being recognized as Canon Log 3 Cine Gamut. So what this means is that you can shoot log in a variety of different cameras, mix and match them on your timeline, and we're just going to automatically manage the colors for you, and you won't have to deal with LUTs or kind of figuring out tricky color science for each one of your cameras. So that's our new color science. Premiere is very serious about color, and this is just the very beginning. It's a foundational step towards delivering really the best quality color in Premiere Pro. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is a new design system that we've embraced, which is the Adobe Spectrum design system. So we've overhauled the skin inside of Premiere Pro to be more modern, more consistent, and ultimately more beautiful. So The first thing that you may notice is that Premiere doesn't really look all that different, and that's actually a good thing. You know, we don't want to completely change everything all at once overnight and cause our editors to have a kind of who moved my cheese moment, but this is going to give us access to 3 different modes here, where I've got the darkest, the dark mode, and for those who really want it, we also have a light mode. So this would be maybe beneficial if you're working in a bright office environment. I personally think that most video pros are going to stick with the dark mode. I know I certainly will myself. We also have an accessible color contrast mode here, and if I toggle this on and off, what you can kind of see is, you know, the buttons are getting a bit more high contrast, and that's nice for folks with diminished vision, you know, as we all get older. That can make it a bit easier to see the interface. But I actually like it because I think it makes it just a little bit easier to see what you're looking at. So also in the realm of new design, we have a new properties panel. And the properties panel is a context-aware panel that gives you access to the most commonly used things that you need. So for example, if I want to adjust the scale here, it's just quite easy to do so. And you can see all the different controls I have. But for the first time, we now have access to control multiple things at the same time. So here I just selected every clip in my timeline, and let me do a crop. Let me bring in the top and bring in the bottom and do a sort of a, you know, a cinematic widescreen kind of effect. And because I did this on every clip, it's now added this crop to every single clip at the same time. You know, in the past, you may have had to add the crop effect and then copy and paste attributes, which is tedious. This is very handy and very easy. Now, maybe you noticed it or maybe you didn't, but this crop, I didn't have to add an effect. This is now just an intrinsic part of every single video clip, and it's present right here in the properties panel. Now, as I select different types of assets, we're going to surface tools that are helpful for that type of asset. So here I selected audio and I have volume. If I select a text, a graphic file here, I've got access to all the text. And you know, one thing I think that editors are going to really enjoy, especially with the graphics, is being able to select multiple graphics at the same time. And for example, maybe I want to change the background color here. And you know, in the past, you may have had to do this, you know, one by one, or you'd have to set up presets or text styles, those kind of things. But now, because of the properties panel, I can just select all my graphics and make that adjustment across, you know, here I just have 2, but you can imagine if you have 47 graphics across a long timeline, this is going to be really, really handy. And so the properties panel is going to be really useful for new editors to sort of find their way in the app and get, you know, going quickly. Because many of the other Adobe tools have similar properties panels. After Effects launched one last year, but also things like Illustrator and InDesign use a properties panel. So those newer editors are going to feel right at home. But this also gives great power for the existing pros because you get quick access to the tools you need very quickly and easily. So we're very excited to get these out into the hands of our users. Everything I showed here today is in public beta. You can download the public beta and try it out yourself. We'd be very interested to get your feedback. Thanks a lot.